So today I want to introduce you to a very special little game. It's an RPG game for two players, though later on in this video I will introduce a solo way of playing this. Okay, we'll talk about that a little later. It's called I Guess This Is It by Cezar Capacle. And it's published by Button Shy Games, and it's their first RPG game. So I'm going to go over what you get here in this little wallet, which is the instruction booklet, right? It's for two players. It plays in about 30 minutes or so. And it's basically an RPG game about saying goodbye. But it's not fully RPG or only RPG, because there's some mechanical things here with these cards. That you're going to try to accomplish as well as you're playing, and I'm going to go over that. So right in here it says, we had such a good run. We were great together. Now we stand in front of each other just minutes before our last goodbye. There's so much to say, and so much we know will be left unsaid. That's because there's going to be a couple of cards of things that were left unsaid, which I think is interesting. You come back after the game and kind of reflect on those. But this is the instruction booklet, which is very cool. RPG for two players with these 18 cards. You're going to start the game by basically deciding what is the nature of your relationship. Okay? Which one of you is leaving and which one of you is staying? Why are you saying goodbye? And where does your goodbye take place? And this QR code here is interesting because if you're stuck on this, you just go on there and it scrambles these different options for you. So if you're stuck, you can just go on there and you'll find a bunch of options, which is pretty cool. This is a little guide. I guess this is it, guidebook. For people who have never played RPGs before. So it kind of tells you kind of what an RPG is and some prompts, you know, to kind of get you going and help you along. A little example of play there. But the way you set up this game is you have these cards here. You have the I Guess This Is It card. This is going to go on the table between you and the other player. And then you have the I'm sorry I have to go goodbye card. This is what the person leaving says when you reach that point, right? So and then you got all these cards with really beautiful art and you know, sort of a prompt up here, you know, lie, care, path, joy, shelter, fate, fear. You know, you got all kinds of stuff here. And again, the art. I mean, look at that art. I mean, it's just, these are gorgeous cards. These are really, really gorgeous cards. And you can use the image on the card to also help you with the role-playing. Now, it's important to mention that in a role-playing game, especially one such as this, that, you know, you're not shooting a movie script here. So it's okay. If when it's your turn to role play, that you can ask a question, you can discuss something. You know, you don't have to have a perfect script when you role play. You just go with it. You know, you just go with it. Because if you are playing an RPG like you're shooting a film with Quentin Tarantino or something, then you're going to end up getting stuck, right? So it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to just relax. It's a game after all. You wanna enjoy yourself. Though this particular game can get quite emotional, and I'll talk about this a little later as well. So the basic. Oh, by the way, these symbols here, right, around the card, that's a memory. So you're basically going to be connecting two things, right? Here's the shelter card. That's memory. So you'd have to connect this card this way, right? So you would be having a memory about shelter, right? This is a wish, right? you should, or I hope, or why don't you, is some kind of wish. The heart here is an apology, and the diamond here is recognition, right? Thank you for this. If it weren't for you, blah blah blah. That sort of stuff, right? I'll explain this to you as I set up the game here. So the way the game is set up for 2 players, you shuffle these, you hand a card to each player, all right, and then you're going to deal these cards in a grid here. I mean, they do it sideways. It probably fits better if we do it sideways. It's a 3x4 grid, right? Now I'm putting them face down. In the instructions, they have you putting the cards face up, and I think they do. Now you're going to have 2 cards left. These 2 cards left, and this is one of the reasons why I like doing it face down. Is because these are the things left unsaid. Now there may be more at the end of the game, but you begin with 2 things that are left unsaid. Okay. And you put this, I'm sorry, I have to go, goodbye, right there. Can you see that? Yes. Okay, it's good on the screen. So, what happens here, now again, I like playing with the cards face down, in the solo, I play with them face down. But in the regular game, you put them face up, and I'll explain why in just a second. So you would turn, I should have just dealt all these face up so you don't have to, watch me trying to pick these cards off this table. Golly, I'll tell you. I need like a little plunger, that I could just put on there. Gosh, I need a plunger so I can turn these cards over. Come on, I don't want to ruin the cards. Oh man, sorry about this. I should have just dealt them face up. But I like to keep it face down just because I prefer not to know what those things are until the end of the game, right? That's just me. All right. So you set up the cards this way, and you're going to start here, go here, 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 and then up there. Okay. So you each have a card. Now, I don't know if we're not going to have a lot of room here because of the camera, but I'll just give you an idea. And when I try the little solo here a little later, I'll put the cards vertical because maybe that'll give me a little more room. Right? Because you're still going to have to set up a little grid here on this side. Okay. So you each have a card. Okay. So this is my card. You have a story, a connection. Right, so maybe this is I don't know, a couple, and they're breaking up because one of them has to go away to follow their dreams, in some other country, or maybe they're an astronaut or something, and they're going to a faraway planet for 40 years. They may never come back, so it could be something like that. So once you determine the characters, right, you've determined this stuff here. What is the nature of your relationship? Which one of you is leaving and which one is staying? Why are you saying goodbye? And where does your goodbye take place? You begin the game. Now, the person who starts is the person who is staying, okay? The person who is staying will start. I just want to confirm that, but that is, let's see. Oh, look at this. This is kind of neat, too. The person leaving. You wish you could stay a little longer, but you know your time has come. Express how you feel, but remember, it's always harder for the person staying. And then for the person staying here, you wish they'd stay a little longer, but you know you have to let them go. Express how you feel, but remember the guilt the person leaving might carry. So you spend some time envisioning this setting. Consider the time period, the scenario, and the overall mood of this goodbye scene. You can be as fantastical or realistic as you wish. Now, this is nice and pretty and everything, but sometimes, the connection is going to, the departure is going to be due to an argument or something negative, right? So that's nice and feel good, but sometimes you might choose to play characters that one is leaving the other because, excuse me, bless me, one character is leaving the other for negative reasons because they got into an argument or something. That they're the symbols, right, that are on each corner of the card there. And so the person staying, actually, I didn't confirm that, but I'm almost 100% sure that it's the person staying. Staying starts the game, right? So let's say I'm staying. Now, I can choose one or two cards, right? So maybe, this has secret, this has lie. I can see what's going on, right? And maybe that's why they play with the cards face up, because then the person can kind of look ahead a little bit. Like the person leaving already knows that they're either going to have the secret or joy, or like if I take these two, they know that they're going to deal with loss and joy, so they can start sort of planning ahead. Okay, so that's the other person's card there. So this is my card. I can take one or two. Let's say I take one, and I decide to go with the path. Okay, with the path in our little example here. Let's say I'm the person staying, and maybe my partner, she's an astronaut, and she's gonna be away for 30 years on a distant planet. So she's saying goodbye. I'm staying. I'm the person who started the game. So maybe I want to deal with path, and now what I have to do is connect a symbol here with a symbol here. Okay, and I can do it in any orientation I'd like. Okay, so in this case, if I do this, okay, if I do that, that means, as you can see here, that I'm connecting recognition, okay, and path. So that's what I'm going to role play. Okay, now this is it's nicely connected, right? Because both cards are in the same orientation, same size. But this could happen as well, right here. I could have decided to do a memory about a path. Now, every time you connect cards that are not going to be neatly together, right? If I do that, or if I do this with the stars, right? The wish. That's not neatly together. That means this moves up one and eats one of these cards. Okay? So it makes our time together shorter, right? Because we're going to go this way here. It makes our time together shorter every time there's a connection like this. And it adds another card to the pile of things that are left unsaid and actually forgotten, eventually forgotten about each other. Okay, the cards you're left in your hand are things left unsaid. The cards under there are things left unsaid and things that will be potentially forgotten by the two of you. It's really cool to reflect that afterwards. So I can choose to do that. So path as a wish or whatever. I can choose to do the memory, right? Or I can choose to put these neatly together here, and if I do that, or if I can connect it this way, right? I can turn this over and connect the two hearts there, which is an apology. That's neat. That's the correct. The cards look good together there. But again, if I were to do this, then we have to eat one card here. I hope that's clear. So let's say I choose to do that, then I just role play that, right? That's a recognition, It was this whole time with you has been, fantastic. I'm gonna miss you terribly, but I completely understand. I recognize, right? Recognition. I recognize that this is your path. I recognize that this is something you have to do. It's your life. It's important to you. It could be important to humanity. It can be important to, the entire universe, that you go and that you explore and that you do your research and, whatever the hell you're going to do on that other planet for 30 years. Okay? So I role play that recognition. Okay? Now, once I role play that, then it's the person leaving. It's their turn. So, she looks at this, and it's care. That's the one she has. She has to choose one or maybe two. So let's say she chooses secret. Okay. Now, there's one of the mechanical things about this game is that in the end of the game, by the time you reach the end of the game, because maybe that'll eat up a couple of cards here, so the end will be shorter. But by the time you reach the end of the game, the person leaving will say, "I'm sorry, I have to go, goodbye," and they're supposed to get up and walk out of the room, okay, and stay away for a couple of minutes, and then come back, and then you discuss what it is that you're going to forget about each other and the things that were left unsaid. It's a cool thing about this game. But the goal is that you both end up with the same amount of cards in your hand. So if I have 2 or 3 cards in my hand and she has 1 card in her hand, that's unbalanced. Okay, that means our conversation didn't go as well as it should have, right? So the goal, the mechanical goal here, you have this mechanical aspect that moves the goodbye pile closer and closer, giving us less time to discuss things. You have that mechanical aspect. You also have the card game, essentially, aspect of having us end with the same amount of cards in our hand. Now, one of the cool things about these symbols, too, and I didn't mention this earlier, and I'll mention it now, is in order to keep that balance, these symbols here don't just where you put your card with the symbols here don't just represent whether it's a balanced conversation or not, where that goodbye card will keep inching up here, but also because it allows you a mechanical, you can make a move. In other words, if it's memory, is it here? Where is it? Yeah, it is. So if I play memory, for instance, and if I do it correctly, like I did here, right? If I do this balanced in a balanced way, then I can use the special ability, which is I can pass a card to my partner. Okay, and you do this so that you can try to maintain that balance, so that in the end of the game you both end up with the same amount of cards. That's a goal. Okay, if I do it this way or this way, right, which is a balanced connection of these symbols. If I do this, I don't get the extra move, right? If I do that, or if I do this, I don't get the extra move, right? So for recognition, I can pass a card to my partner. With the apology, which is the heart, my partner can skip their next draw. Okay, so maybe they have a card in their hand. They don't want to draw another one because maybe we're getting towards the end here and it's going to keep things balanced. The star, which is wish, my partner can pass a card to me. Okay, and in memory, which is this one here, okay, let's see, bring up after you narrate the memory, you will play it. Oh, you can play an extra card. Okay. Excuse me. You can play an extra card. So I have 2 cards in my hand. So if I do this, actually none of these will work here, because memory is over here to the side, and all of these have memory up on top, so it would always be connected that way. But let's say that I was, let me see if this one will do it. Yeah, this one will do it. So let's say I put this one here. That's balanced. That allows me to play an extra card. So then I go ahead and I role play that, and then I add another card wherever I want. Now, excuse me, I don't know what's going on. I got an itch in my throat. Now, you're always, so this was the first card, okay? You're going to match a symbol to that first card. And then when the other player or yourself play, you're always going to have to match a symbol to the last card played, okay? So in this case, if I have these two cards in my hand, I can play care, and I can put the heart there. I can put the star up here. You always have to play. So let's say this is the situation. Well, the other player there has to play on a symbol on the last card played. Clearly, she won't be able to play on the wish because that's already taken. But, she could do this, all right? Or she could do this, right? Or this, right? So you're going to be attaching, connecting symbols to the last card played always, all right? Until these are gone, right? And you get to that card. Maybe this stack here has eaten a couple of cards. Okay, so it doesn't matter who actually gets to the end of the game. Who was the last person to narrate? It could it could have been me, or it could have been it could be the person staying, could be the person leaving. Then the person who's leaving picks this up, says, "I'm sorry, I have to go. Goodbye." They get up, leave the room. And then you come back, and let's say I have this card in my hand, and she has that card in her hand, and we ended balanced, right? So we had a decent goodbye. So we come back, and we look at the cards in our hand, and these were the things left unsaid. There was apparently a secret that was left unsaid. And, really, we didn't want to talk about loss so much, all right? For whatever reason, we just, these were things left unsaid, loss and secret. Okay. Now we're going to look under here and see what else was left unsaid, and possibly some of the things we're going to forget about each other. Trial, right? Judgment, or tests in life. A clash. We're gonna forget. We're going to eventually forget about our arguments, our fights. Okay. Fate. We're not going to look at the big picture here. We're going to forget that maybe it was fate that brought us together. As it's too painful to face that. Anyway, so afterwards you're going to pick up these cards. These are things, as well as the cards in your hand, right? Are things that are left unsaid. But these under the goodbye card are also things that'll be forgotten eventually. And the fear, right? How cool is this? The fear. All kinds of fear. The fear of not being with each other. The fear of never seeing each other again. That kind of stuff. That we'll forget about that eventually. And we certainly didn't discuss it. We're going to talk about it. What a cool game. I mean, it's just a neat little game. I think... now let me talk about a solo, right? Because I think, I'm not a therapist. I think this can be therapeutic. Now, gee, Alex, what do you mean? How would you play this solo? Well, I'm gonna show you right now what I've done a couple of times. I might even go through something here real quick. Maybe not the whole game, but... So you shuffle these. Right, and again, you decide on what's the nature of your relationship. Okay. Well, I'm an adventurer. Okay, in this case, let's say I'm an adventurer. Okay, an older adventurer. Okay, which one of you is leaving and which one is staying? Well, I'm leaving. Okay, I'm leaving. And my relationship is a friend. Maybe I mentor this younger person. We're both adventurers, but I mentor this younger person, and I'm older. I'm the older one. That's the nature of our relationship. Okay. I'm leaving. Okay. Now, why am I saying goodbye? Because I'm going to war. I'm going to a big war. Okay. And where does the goodbye take place? I don't know, in a restaurant or something, in a living room. I don't know. You decide, right? But yeah, I'm an older adventurer. I'm going to war. Clearly, I don't know, for whatever reason, the younger adventurer is not going to this war. Maybe they don't think I should go to this war because I'm older. I don't know. So how do I do this as a solo thing, right? And how do I see this as therapeutic? Because let me address that first. I can go ahead and do this, some fantastical thing, some weird thing. Obviously, it's a little more brutal version of the game because the other person is not going to say anything. You're going to say everything, whether you're staying or leaving. You're the one who's doing the talking. The other person is not going to say anything. And then at some point, they either, if they're the ones leaving, I'm sorry, I have to go, goodbye. That's all they say. It's brutal, right? Or if you're the one leaving, at some point, that's how you're going to end the game by saying, I'm sorry, I'm leaving, okay? And just like in the other game, you look at some of the things that were left unsaid. But anyway, let me continue to address this. Now, I think it's also therapeutic because, for instance, my dad passed away suddenly about 4 years ago. I fortunately was able to say, I don't think I left anything unsaid to my father. He I used to hang out with him. So I said everything I had to say. I'm good. But if I did this like with my father, for instance, right? My father is gone. He's passed away already. So if I play this game, obviously he's not going to say anything because but it's kind of cool. It can be therapeutic, believe me, because you play the game as I explained it earlier, right? But again, so let me tell you, gosh, I hope I'm not confusing you because there's just so much to say about this, and it's kind of hard to explain this game in detail. But anyway, I do the same thing, right? I take 2 cards, you put under the goodbye card. Let me put this vertically now. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think let me see. Yeah, I think you can see that. 1, 2. I like it face down if I'm playing solo. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the one card that goes to the other person is just out of the game. That's how I do it if I'm doing like a solo thing. Let's say this is my father, or I don't know, somebody who has passed or something. You're just going to talk. You're going to talk to yourself, really, but you're talking to them. I like to keep it face down because I don't like to see what happens. So obviously, well, not obviously, but it doesn't really matter. You can choose. Usually, if I'm doing something like this, I'm the one that's leaving, right? So it's like I come into this dimension or something to talk to them, and then I'm leaving. So the person staying starts. That means the person staying I guess in the afterlife, I just get rid of this card. It's out of the game. So this second card here is mine. I don't ever choose 2 cards, right? I just do 1. So now I got secret and fear, right? So let's say I'm talking to, in a therapeutic sort of way, even though I'm not a therapist at all, about my dad, right? I can say here, well, a secret, let's see. Apology, I can do this. Apology about a secret. Obviously, we're not going to be doing the exchange of cards. We're not looking for that kind of balance, but this is just the way I can play the game solo. And now I just role play that. Maybe I kept a secret from my father. And I want to apologize for that. So then I just talk. And so after this is done, and because it was like that, this pile does not begin to eat the other cards, right? So now it's the other person, the person, who's staying. So then this card is out of the game. I don't even look at it. Now it's my turn. I take this card, and I have fear and path. All right, well, with my dad, I could talk about, well, let's say I do this, right? A memory about path, right? Oh, wait, it can't go there. It has to go on this card. So memory about path. Right? That's balanced. That connects nicely. But let's say it didn't. Let's say I decided to... Actually, any card I play here will work. Let's say I decided to use this instead and do something like that. Right? Wish. about fear. All right. That maybe I wish my father could have spoken to me more about his fears and things. But I understand as a parent myself. A lot of times you don't want to share with your children your fears and everything, whatever. So let's say I do this, right? So it's not like a balanced thing. That means this goodbye pile just goes right there, right? It eats one of those. Anyway, you just keep playing like that by yourself. You just get rid of the card of the other person. It's out of the game. And at the end of the game, it's sort of therapeutic because you've talked about certain things, right? You've mentioned some things. And then you look at some of the things that were left unsaid. Passage, joy, loss. Again, the loss card, right? I mean, it's too painful. These are things left unsaid. So I don't know. That could be useful. It could be interesting to play that way. But listen, you can play just as a totally fantastical thing, like I was telling you, right? So if I'm playing that I'm this warrior, this adventurer, and my relationship is with I mentor a younger adventurer, and I'm the one leaving. I'm going to war. All right. So we begin the game this way. This is my card. They're the ones who's staying, right? I get rid of their card because they're not here. They're not going to say a word. That this is the brutal version of I'm sorry I have to go goodbye, because the other person doesn't say a word. They're the ones staying. The person who's staying starts, so I take that card and get rid of it. It's gone. Now it's my turn. I take this card. Now I have a secret and care. So let's say I am this this adventurer, this older adventurer, and I'm going off to this big war, and the younger adventurer, the person I mentor, is the other person who's not going to say a darn thing. So here we have a wish. Let's see, what can I play here? Let's say. I can do an apology about a secret, right? So in this case, I'm just telling this kid, I'm telling this person that I mentor, I say, look, I want to start by apologizing because my intention was always to go. I never told you this, that my intention was to, if I'm gonna die, I want to die bravely in battle, defending something I believe in. And I never really said that to you, because I'm older, and you thought maybe I would always be around for you. And I always knew that at some point I was gonna depart, and I was gonna go fight this big war, and go out there and do my thing. And I apologize for not sharing that with you earlier, because apparently you're under the impression that I was gonna, hang around forever for you, and hold your hand and do all that. So I apologize. I apologize for not revealing to you earlier over these past few years that from the get-go, my intention was always to go off to war and fight bravely. Okay, so that's the end of my scene. Now, obviously, if I'm doing solo, they're not going to say anything. So it's their turn. That means I take this card, and it's out of the game. See, that's why I like playing it face down. I don't like to see what's coming up. So now it's my turn. Again, I take this card, and it's fear. Now, remember, I have to attach it to the last played card. Right? I have to attach it. And if I'm playing by myself as well, I try to end the game with no cards in my hand. No cards. That's one of the mechanical things I like to do if I'm playing by myself, right? But, it's kind of neat to play by yourself because, you get more accustomed to the game. If you're going to play with somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience and you go through this by yourself a couple of times, it's easier to explain it to them, and and it's fun. You just have because there are these sort of mechanical things where I'm trying to match cards here to keep things balanced, so I have a little more time to say what I want to say and to role play, and that I want to end the game with no cards in my hand. So these things are kind of cool as well. So I have care and fear, right? So what should I do here? Let's say that I don't know. Here, memory about care. You know. And I remember when when you came around and you were this lost young person, and it was important for me to take care of you and perhaps, and then it's always interesting too, by the way, when you connect what you said before to what you're saying now. So the care, a memory about care, I could be talking about this, like how I took him in, I taught him everything that I knew. I can say I taught you everything I knew. I cared for you and fed you and made sure that you had a place to live and someone to talk to when you had nothing. And that's a very beautiful memory for me, because it was a very special time in my life, because I was alone at the time as well, and your presence in my life meant a lot. And so taking care of you, bringing you in, was very important. And now I'm going to make that connection to what I said before, right, about the apology about the secret. Now I say another reason why I didn't want to share with you the secret that I kept within me about at one point being 100% sure that I was going to leave. I didn't want to tell you, as we became more attached as sort of a family. I didn't want to reveal that secret to you. So now you see you're role playing, you're connecting the different things. Okay, so now it's their turn. Okay, and because everything's balanced here, I haven't eaten any time yet. That's their turn. I get this card. It's out of the game. Now I take this one. I got fate and fear. So let me just give you a quick example here before we end this video, because this could just go on forever, and I know I've been rambling, but I hope you get an idea of what this game is about and what you can get out of it, because I think this design is just fantastic by Cezar. I own a couple of his other games. If you go to he has a website. If you go to his website, Cezar Capacle, he has some solo role-playing games and stuff. There's some really cool things. I want to talk about another one of these at some point here soon. Okay, so I got fate and fear. I want to do here. I'm going to do this. Okay. I did an apology, so now apology about fate. Now you see how that's not balanced? That means this goes boop and eats a little bit of the time, right? Because that's not a balanced connection. But I want to talk about an apology about fate. So, I just role play more of what I said earlier. I knew this was always my path. I want to apologize for not revealing the fact that this is fate. I knew this since I was your age, that I was going to go to war and maybe even die in war, and et cetera, et cetera. So then it's their turn, and then it's my turn, and as you can see, we're getting towards the end of the game here. Barrier, fear, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but you get the idea, right? So when we get to the end, after I've played this by myself, hopefully I played all my cards, because I'm not playing turns, right? So at some point I can play fear, and then I can play barrier before I take another card to play, right? So there's no turns. The goal is that I shouldn't avoid anything I have in my hand. So I want to end the game with no cards in my hand, right? I want to play them all. So when having two, you have an option. So whenever I get the opportunity to get rid of two cards, I do. and then I can do that towards the end or sometime before. It doesn't matter. But my goal is to just have no cards in my hand. That means I addressed everything I felt I needed to address. But then at the end of the game, if I want to, I can just say this, get up and walk out of the room and then come back. But, since it's just me, I don't need to do that, right? Anyway, so this was some of the things that were not discussed and will potentially be forgotten. Joy. Wow, we didn't talk... Crazy, right? We didn't talk about all the good times. We didn't talk about the fun and all the excitement. We didn't talk about that. And unfortunately, that's something that it will end up being forgotten between us. Wow. Loss, that was here from the previous, passage. We don't discuss this important passage in our lives, or maybe their particular because of me leaving, it changes their path, and they got a new passage, all right, towards something else, right, that they have to take at this point if I'm leaving, etc. And then you kind of reflect on that by yourself. Anyway, that's kind of how I play with this. It's a two-player game. It's a very nice two-player RPG game. And again, you can go on there if you're stuck on characters and things like that, and it'll randomize this stuff for you here. What's the nature of your relationship? Which one of you is leaving? Why are you saying goodbye? And where does the goodbye take place? And if you want to just have some goofy fun, you can come up with crazy things. You come up with something silly and crazy. Like I looked at this randomizer here one time, and it was a puppet leaving a puppeteer, right? So you don't have to get emotional or too serious about this. You can do goofy things like that, like a puppet leaving the puppeteer, and whatever else like maybe an alien, right? An alien lands in your backyard, right? And it lives there for like 2 years, and you don't say anything. So you have this sort of friendship with this alien. Well, it's time for the alien to go. So one of you can play the alien, and the other one, and it's just sort of could be like a goofy thing. Though that can be quite emotional, actually. I guess this is it. Cezar Capacle, a button-shy RPG game. Their first one that was successfully kickstarted. And I know I rambled a lot in this video. I hope you got something out of it. It's very interesting. I really like it. And go check out some of his other stuff, because I think it's interesting stuff. I guess this is it.